second creation health principle is rest. And if we turn to Genesis chapter 2 again, you might want to keep that open so we don't forget how to eat. Verses 1 and 3 this time. Genesis chapter 2, verses 1, 2, 3. Thus the heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his work which God had created and made. God himself modelled the need for rest to us at the end of the creation week. Do you think that God needed a rest? Do you think he was tired? No, I'm sure that our omnipotent God would not get tired. But he rested to show us how important it is for us to rest. Consider your own heart. Okay, I want you to exercise now. I want you to see if you can find your pulse in your wrist or in your neck. Can you find it? Have you got it? Just sit for a moment and just notice the beat of your heart. Between each working beat of your heart is a period of rest. Without this time of rest, your heart will soon get tired and stop working, and that would be a disaster. And it's the same for your body. Regular periods of rest are needed to balance the stresses which surround us every day. One hospital received a donation of a beautiful aquarium for their foyer area, and the children particularly liked to see the fish when they came into the hospital. But it wasn't very long before the fish started dying, and every few days they had to go and get new fish and put them in the tank. And soon they called the experts in to try and figure out what the problem was, and they couldn't figure it out either until one of them asked if the lights were always on in the foyer. And when the answer was yes, he said, well, maybe that's the problem. They're not getting any darkness to sleep. So at night they turned off the aquarium lights, and guess what? The fish lived. Long before science discovered the importance of rest, God built a weekly day of rest into our lives. Did you realise that the 7-day week is the only part of our calendars which doesn't relate to some celestial cycle? We have the year, the time it takes the Earth to orbit the Sun. We have the month, the period from one new moon to the next. And we have the 24-hour day, one full rotation of the Earth on its axis. But where does the week come from? Nature has no 7-day cycle, yet virtually everyone on Earth observes a 7-day week. The 7-day week is a direct link through time to our Creator. The crowning gift is creation. 1 day in 7 set aside for rest, guilt-free rest. I don't think I fully appreciated the Sabbath until I did year 12, and I really appreciated that 1 day a week, and I didn't have to do assignments or study for exams, and I didn't have to feel guilty about it. Take the advice of our Creator and build time into each day and week to rest and recharge. And you will find that rest replaces weariness, exhaustion and fatigue with peace, energy and hope. Our next creation health principle is environment. We're going to Genesis 2, verses 8 and 9. So Genesis chapter 2, verses 8 and 9. The Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground the Lord God made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The environment which surrounds us has an effect on our health, either positively or negatively. Today many of us are surrounded by constant change. We live in a world which is just getting faster and faster. All around us, billboards, radios, television, magazines, the internet and more shout for our attention and beg to be noticed. As a result, many feel as though their lives are growing ever more stressful as they try to keep up with the constant change. God knew the effect environment would have on us. That's why he made the perfect garden home for Adam and Eve in Eden. Though we could not recreate the Eden environment in this world, we can take principles away from it and apply them to our own lives. In Eden, Adam and Eve were surrounded by God's handiwork. Majestic trees, shrubs and flowers of every shape and colour, creeks, rivers and ponds. Everywhere they looked was order and simplicity. In Eden there was no clutter, and material things didn't consume their lives. Instead of the smog and pollution which is all almost inevitable in our industrial society. The clean, fresh fragrance of nature is all around them, and an abundance of fresh air and sunshine. Instead of the harsh, jarring noises of our cities, the sounds and rhythms of nature soothe their spirits. Decluttering our homes, simplifying our lives, and surrounding ourselves with fresh fragrances and sounds of nature will do much to relax us and improve our health. But there will always be parts of our environment which we cannot change. For instance, we may not have much freedom to change anything at the place where we work. However, we can change the environment within us and achieve peace in unlikely places. There's a story told of a hospital nurse who used to get very frustrated with an old photocopy that seemed to take forever to do the copies she needed. And one day while she was waiting for her copies to be done, she decided that she wasn't going to let it frustrate her. She was going to spend the time praying instead. And so she did. She prayed for a specific need. And she received an answer to that prayer, and so she prayed again next time she was there. And this became a pattern. And she spoke to her workmates about it and told them her experience, and they started praying too, to the point where they had a prayer list above the photocopier so everyone who came there knew what needs to pray for. And I think that's just a wonderful example of changing your environment and changing your heart. I'm talking too fast. We're going to finish early. Our next creation health principle is activity. Genesis 2, verse 15. Genesis chapter 2, verse 15. Then the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it. Do you think that God could have made a garden which didn't need any caring for? I'm sure he could have, yet he gave Adam the job of looking after the garden and tending it. He knew the wonderful benefits we would receive from employing our minds and bodies in active labour. There are many benefits to regular activity. Research has clearly shown that with regular physical activity, a person sleeps better and is less susceptible to injury. Mentally, an active person handles stress more effectively. He or she is able to think more clearly and generally has a more positive outlook on life. There are also social and spiritual benefits to being active. On the other side of the coin, inactivity is said to be one of the greatest public health challenges of this century. People who do not engage in regular physical activity are at a higher risk of obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, bone fractures, some cancers and many other diseases as well. Being more active is easy and doesn't need to take up extra time. Walking is probably the easiest exercise to do and it's one of the most beneficial as well. So think about taking a walk in your lunch break instead of sitting down to eat your sandwich, either way, go for a walk. Take the stairs instead of the lift where you have a choice between two. My husband, he works on the 13th floor.
16.
16th floor. I think you should take 16 blocks of stairs every day. Or you could get out a few floors below your floor and walk the last few. Get out in the garden or play with the children or grandchildren. The most important thing is to aim to be moderately active for 30 to 40 minutes each day. So this doesn't mean that you need to be completely breathless and hot and sweaty by the end of it. It's just enough to raise your heart rate and get you that level of exercise. So we all need to get active. Is anyone interested in coming for a walk after lunch today? Asleep? What activities are you?